Hey everybody, what's up? Sorry for the terrible freestyle at the beginning there. That was me testing a new Cinewhoop, and you should never spang a Cinewhoop. Hopefully I have audio now, Funberbolt. Let me know if you can hear me now. You should be able to. I was a little slow on the mute button there, so my bad. Anyway, yeah, you shouldn't spang a Cinewhoop or else it looks like that. That's why you don't do that with those things. But the SpeedyBee B35 is pretty fun. I just built one of those. I'm going to do a whole review on it, so you guys will get to see that. It's a pretty cool little Cinewhoop frame, a little different than something like the Cinelog 35. That one has an O3 Air Unit in it, T-Motor 1604 motors, a SpeedyBee F405 mini stack. Yeah, all the good stuff. So it's really hard to build, though, so you might want to buy one as a bind and fly, because that is not a fun frame to build. But speaking of fun frames to build, today we're going to continue working on the Grinderino. I worked on this last live stream. I put the frame together. I've got all that done, got the motors on. Now we've got to solder things up. So if you don't remember, I picked the Argus F7 AIO stack for this thing because I want it to be really solid. The whole point of this build is like a 3.5-inch basher. So yeah, Mercury Moist. Yeah, the shirt, man. The shirt. This is Ready Set Drone sent me this shirt. It's really cool. I suggest you pick one up. They're really awesome shirts. But yeah, today we are going to solder on this terribly because, yeah, you haven't seen me solder live before. So now you're going to get to experience everything that is that. It's not going to be great, but that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, before we get to that, just want to say hi to everybody. Everyone in here so far. Let's see. We've got Veritas Weasel. I like that name. Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper. Good to see you, buddy. Himpy FPV, Fun Per Volt, Ogre FPV, Chris Quad, Little One-on-One. Who else? Jeremy Stone, DJ Sonic up in here. DJ Sonic won a quad once. I remember sending that to DJ Sonic. He won the budget build after the budget build series. And he said he's still having fun with it. So that's good. I hope it's not broken now. If it is, that's what it was made for. All right. How is the leg? Says Krakos. Kyriakos. I can't pronounce your name. Sorry, I'm bad at that. The leg's okay. I have my cane now, so I'm off the walker and onto a cane, but that's going to be that way for a long time. They are very, very sure that I ripped things in there, and I had to get an MRI to figure out how badly. So yeah, I still can't bend it. Like if I go to move my leg up from a seated position, I can't do it. My quads just don't work at all. So, yeah, I limp around the house. It's great. My family really enjoys waiting on me hand and foot. Yeah. Okay. Kyriakos, that one was good. Was that one good too, if I'm pronouncing it correctly? What's up, Ethan? Dirty Dog FPV. Saggy Balls up in the house. Old Saggy Balls. Saggy Balls might send me a quad to fix. You guys might get to watch that one. He's been having problems with a quad. In fact, on Discord, if you're on the Discord, he burned one down today. Which normally when you say I burned one down today, it's a good thing. That was not a good thing. It's totally melted. FL Engineer, what's up? Says, enjoying the Grinderino. I'm still trying to find the best props. I'm assuming you mean props for mine with the 1605s. Yeah, I'm doing 1506s. Yeah, so close. 1605, 1506. There's a little bit of stator difference there. And let me move stuff. My props are down here. I've got the Jim Fan Hurricane 3.5 by 2 by 3s. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try these. I have some HQ ones too, but these don't seem bad. The thing I don't like about these is, this whole 3 or 5 millimeter shaft thing is really great for the ruggedness, and that's what I'm going for in this build. But these have little adapters to go from T-post to 5 mil, and I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if we're going to get as good a grip on them as I want. So we'll see. DJ Sonic says he broke an arm and banged up the motor on it. Replaced both. Easy peasy, still flying. See the budget build, man. The budget build. It's a good build for not a lot of money. What's up, Nick FPV? Bitterroot. Booster. Good to see everybody. I'm glad people are joining in. We're going to start soldering on this thing in a minute. Like I was telling everybody, if you're just showing up, today I'm going to put the main lead on this. I've got to figure out some stuff on that. I'm going to solder the motors up, and we might solder ELRS. I've got to decide where I'm going to put everything because this is a a pretty compact frame. I'm going to go with, in the rear, the HD0 Freestyle V2. I was going to do walk snail, but I think this is going to be better for it because I'm going to be doing a lot of close proxy freestyle with this thing since it's so small, and the low latency is going to be helpful. I will miss the whole fact that I can't record on the VTX though, but I'll have to live with it. Don't forget the flux. I've got the flux. I've got this flux, the SRA flux pin for rework. It's very handy. I need paste flux though. Back when I was doing a ton of soldering, I used to use paste flux. In fact, I greatly prefer paste flux. It's just so messy on this small stuff, and these pads are really small. I've got my Hako 936 that we're going to be using today. This soldering iron could legally drink. That's how old it is. And then I've got my Super Pro. This is a Portasol Super Pro 125. I'm going to do the main leads with this because it is butane and makes a lot of heat. I love a butane torch for a lot of heat. And this one, I looked it up the other day. It's like 14 years old, something like that. I've had these soldering irons for a long time. All original tips too. I've been soldering for ages. Yeah, paste is messy. Definitely, paste is messy, but it works so well though. This stuff, it depends on the pin you get, but if you click the pin down, too much comes out. If you don't click the pin down, nothing comes out, and then it evaporates really fast because it's alcohol based. But you don't have to clean up after it, so it is nice. Little one-on-one throw, a run cam on it. A run cam on it. A link wasp. I could do that. But I want the low latency with HD0. So Ethan W. excited about the walk snail all-in-one goggle coming out this month. I don't know. I haven't. I'm not fully sure what they mean by all-in-one anymore. I haven't seen it. They haven't sent me one. They haven't offered it all. They haven't actually talked to me in like 2 months. But we'll see when it gets here what it means by all-in-one. It's definitely not going to include DJI, which nothing includes DJI. If they include DJI in that goggle, I will eat a sock. I'll fry it in bacon grease or something and eat it. They're not going to include DJI in that goggle. What they probably will do, though, is have an HDMI in like goggles should have, and then maybe an analog in like goggles should have, which all the other ones have. But it will be nice to see Walksnail do it. Personally, I'm not owning any Walksnail goggles. I probably won't own those unless they send me a set. I have the HD0 goggles, which I finally got. I haven't had a set since February. I finally worked it out to be able to get one. And I have a Walksnail VRX on the front. I had to get the low latency mode. I have OLEDs. I have the same field of view as the Walksnail goggles. So yeah, I can run 3 systems on those goggles. So to me, that's an all-in-one, but we'll see what they do. We'll see. Oh, a little one-on-one says, bro, run cam Thumb Pro on it for DVR. Yeah, I'm going to put the Thumb Pro on it. Absolutely. I'm going to make a print for Thumb Pro. Since I'm not going to be doing Walksnail. I was going to do the Walksnail so I didn't have to have an action cam, but the Thumb Pro's so light that it's fine. And if I destroy it in a crash, because this is going to be made to crash, who cares? It's a Thumb Pro. It's cheap enough. So, what's up, Jeremy Stone? Jeremy Stone says, good day for me to bust out the practice boards. Just got it so I can solder with me. I've soldered plenty of plugs and wires, but never boards. It's its own beast. That's for true. That is for true. What's up, Ligma? What's up, Vishnu? My light just turned off over there. I never keep these lights on. They're Wi-Fi enabled, and my Wi-Fi is so bad out here, so you get to kind of just see a dark room behind me now. I'm not going to get up and mess with it because that would take me 15 minutes to hobble over there. All right. Well, I've welcomed everybody. It's time to start actually working on this thing. So I've got my solder, which, no, it is not good brand solder. I've got my tip cleaner, super important. If you don't have one of these, this is one of the things I highly recommend you get. This is a tip cleaner, which is pretty common with a brass brush, but under the brass brush is a bunch of flux. It's rosin flux under there. So if you dip it past the brush, it cleans it for you. What's up, Rick James? Yeah. Hilarious. Soldering the XC60 is like that last mission in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It is. It totally is. But This one has an X260 with pretty thin wires. So I'm going to solder them on the board first, though, I think, because I'm not sure how long I want these things to be. So that's what the plan is today. Thought that was bacon grease, BLheli32. No, it's not bacon grease. Could be, though. All right, so I have to make a decision. The Hako or the Portasol? I think we're going to go with the Portasol. Let me see if I can get my split screen done correctly this time. I always have a hard time. No, that's the wrong one. That's not what I wanted to do. The split screen stuff is there. I'm backwards. That's better. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Ligma, what is the build? The build is a Grinderino with the Axis Flying Argus F7 AIO and RCM Power 1506 motors, 3000 kV 6S is what I'm going to do on this one. So let's spin up our torch. There we go. It's nice and lit. This thing's going to get real hot. We're going to give that a second to get hot. I'm going to move my work out of the way. Let me move some things out of the way. I got a receiver over there. Got this mouse. I probably don't need this mouse in the way. Yeah. Ligma, you watched me build it last weekend. I built it last weekend. I'm finally getting around to soldering on it, though. It has been a long, painful week. What's up, Curtis Hayes? Putting an Argus on a Cine on 30. Yeah. That size is pretty good for this board. Cool cat. I love my butane soldering iron. I do too. This thing dumps out so much heat. It makes mains leads, which these aren't very big mains leads. Like I was saying, these are fairly small mains leads. But it makes them so much simpler when you have enough heat to work with. If you're trying to do them with an iron that doesn't quite get hot enough, they're just near impossible. Nesmo FPV, it's been a long time, man. How am I? Channel's doing awesome. I'm doing good. I'm doing very well. I hurt myself, and I have a torn ACL. But other than that, I'm doing good when it comes to quads. Doing pretty good there. Okay, so before we get to stabbing, I'll do the right thing, and I will put some flux on this. And it's going to be hard for you guys to see probably in some spots because I'm going to have to be able to see the solder. So we're going to get on here, though. And I'm going to pick the one closest to me, right? So that I can dump enough heat in it without making the next one a big mess. I'm going to put a little bit of solder on the bottom of my iron so that I can make a good contact point. And this is a horseshoe pad. So it's going to be a little more difficult because you can't just straight get your iron on there. All right, we almost got enough heat. It's going. It looks like crap. Nothing little heat can't fix, though. And I'm not going to put a ton of solder on this because I'm going to push the wires into the horseshoe. There we go. There we go. Get a little bit of solder smell. I love the smell of solder. Make sure, so when you have pads like this, you always want to make sure to look underneath them if you can, which you guys can't really see, to make sure it hasn't dripped down super far. Because if it has, then you're dripping solder onto something, and it's probably not something you want solder on. Okay, there we go. There we go. You can see those joints. There we go. There's a couple of solder joints. They're not great. They're not great, but oh, I missed my can and I hit the table. That's what I get for reading. Rick James, my Grinderino gets 8-minute flights on Forest 3000 kV 1404s. Yes, I never get 8 minutes of flight on anything, though. I always see these people that are constantly talking about long flight times with like a 5-inch and a 1300 mile pack. They're like, I get 7 minutes. I get 2.5. I just fly in a way that is not good for batteries. But it's how I like to fly. So that's what I do. All right. So I tinned those pads. That's important, but you don't want to just slap these things on, right? You've got to tin these. And to tin them, I'm actually going to put a little bubble of solder on them. I'm going to try to capture a solder bubble right on the end. So, Mercury Moise, I seen the motor color and I was worried. It's a theme. I have a whole theme going with this particular motor color. The TPU is going to match. Everything's going to match. The flight controller is pink. The TPU will be pink. The motors are pink and teal. Ugh. Okay. So now I've got little solder bubbles. Let that focus, if it will. This camera is not great at focusing on small stuff. I've got little solder bubbles on the end there, which will make this next part a whole lot easier. But before I do that, we consult the manual about which one is which. Because on this flight controller, it is not labeled which one is positive and which one is negative. There we go. It is. It's just so light because the flight controller is white. So the far one is positive and the near one is negative. All right. What's up, Moist? It's going good. It's going good. Oh, Ligma, don't get me started on Chris Rosser's new motors. Don't do it. You don't want to. You don't want to know. It's better if I don't say anything. Nothing wrong with his motors. If that's your thing. It is, however, not my thing at all. At all. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in charging $30 for a motor that's marginally better than other motors, no matter what your scientific proof says. When most people fly it, they may think they notice a difference, but the chances are they don't. And they paid twice as much for that motor. And it just makes me sad. But if you want to feel better about the scientific evidence in your motors, sure. All about it. All right, so that's my solder joint. There we go. I have them on now. And I am going to point them up. I'm going to bend them over just a little bit, but with the horseshoe kind, you really ought to point them up. Put that back on there. Apache, are you positive that one is negative? Yes. Pun. Very punny. Oh, Mercury Moyes. I love the color. There was just a brand not favored by some, I believe. Yeah, it's not those. They're RC Empowers. Which, you know, I just got done saying, why do you spend so much money on a motor? Well, RC Empowers aren't cheap either. However, with the 5mm shaft, I have an option of T-motor or RC Empower, and RC Empower had the right size. The size that I wanted, in the right KV. And that's why I got them. So, haha, my point stands. Okay, so we've got the mains on there. That's not too big a deal. And my problem being, I'm gonna turn the siren off for a second because I'll burn myself if I wave it around anymore. Okay, my problem being that, right, this is the top plate, and let's just push those down. Well, let's push them over. Because ideally, you would want them to come out the top plate. I think I'm gonna have to have them come out this side of the top plate and let them come over the FC to give them the most chance of survival in crashes and things, and have them come out right here. What I don't know is how much I want of the top of that sticking out so I can put my XT60 on. Because, you know, I already got to trim them. That one's a little bit longer than this one. But I don't know if I want to cut it down here and leave it a stubby. I might want to leave it a stubby. But I'm probably also going to have to put the capacitor on the lead because this cap is not going to fit in there with the plans I have for other things. So I'm going to have to put it on the end of the lead here. So I want to have enough room for that. So I don't know. We can put the XT60 on it and see, but I think I'm going to have to at least have it come up to there. I'm going to trim that much off and we're going to call it good. I thought I couldn't decide. Now I did. Yeah, thanks, Curtis Hayes. I didn't get to watch it yet. I haven't been feeling well. And where I sit all day because I can't walk around, I don't have a TV or much, and I have a laptop in my lap. But if I leave my laptop in my lap, it actually hurts really bad because it hits my knee. So I don't keep it out that often. Yeah, so most of the time I'm just over there staring into space. Or I try to hobble out here and get some work done. So I totally missed his live stream, but I did hear about that. Bot Grinder's an awesome dude, and he's really fully supportive of the community and, you know, the kind of things that we both enjoy about FPV. I think we have a really similar mindset about some of it. So he's a cool dude. If I lived closer, I'd hang out with him all the time. Someday I might get to hang out with him. We'll see. Let's see here. while I'm getting these ready, if you don't have a pair of good strippers, always get a pair of good strippers. Come in pairs. You can't just buy a single stripper. It's strippers. It's plural. Curtis Hayes, he'd give you some medicine. Yeah, I'm sure he would. I've never had that kind of medicine. I don't know how it is. So, you know, it might be okay. I've never been that level of medicated in my life. Okay, so now I'm gonna do things you shouldn't do at home and just solder these in the air. Because I can. Rick at Night. Am I near Columbus? There's an FPV meetup next month. No, I am in the plains of Texas, buddy. So Ohio is literally forever away from me. Literally. I do have, I used to know people in Ohio, though. I just don't have any way to get there or any money to get there. Someday I'll go to meetups. Someday. All right, so I tend those. And now, but always remember to put your little sleeve on before you move on to this next step, because you won't get a second chance to do that. All right, so now we've got to tin this XT60. Bust out the helping hands again. Try to get this in a position where I can see it. It's hard because I'm trying to solder where you guys can see too. I usually like to do them like this, where it kind of faces up, and then I just tilt the iron. And you can use a little dab of flux on this if you want. You don't have to. It's so big. That's what she said. But you don't have to. Rick James, I'm running the new SpeedyBee Mini on my Grinderino light, and it fits well. I thought about a SpeedyBee Mini. The reason I went with the Argus was it has aluminum on it, and the goal of my build is very much durability in this 3.5-inch class. So I kind of want to make it a 3.5-inch basher build. And then I can't see that one. I can't see. I was trying to let you guys see. And then I wanted to be able to make sure I had enough room for a battery strap. I'm going to bubble that. I'm going to bubble it. I'm going to bubble it all wrong. There we go. That'll get it started. I want to make sure I had enough room for a battery strap on top of the FC, because I get annoyed whenever I do a build where I don't have enough room for a battery strap. It always ticks me off. If I can't go over the FC with a battery strap, I've done something wrong. All right, so now let's find the positive and the negative terminal. I'm going to have to hold this to my face to do that. Okay, positive is flat side. I can never remember that. All right, so this is how I like to do these. I sit that there. I push this here. Sometimes I hold it. Sometimes I don't. In fact, I'm going to flip this around because it will make life simpler. All right. Put that in there. I'm going to add a little bit more solder now that I can see it better. Ligma, yeah. Next time you're in Texas, hit me up. It's a big state, though. Make sure you're in the middle part of it, because otherwise you're going to have a long history. But if you're in the middle part of it, hit me up. I've got my own flying spot now, in my backyard. So we can fly anytime, bud. Come on. All right. I'm going to let that cool off before I flip it over. These XT60s get really hot because there's so much metal in contact, and if you do too much work, you will melt it. So I always give it a second. What is the motor-to-motor dimensions of the Grinderino? So you mean between the motors? I don't have anything to measure with over here, and I can't walk over to the bench and get it, to the box and get it. I'm sorry. Normally I would. Normally I'd walk right over there and do that for you. But I cannot right now because I can't get up, mostly. Okay, I'm going to flip this over. Let's see if we can get this other one in the same way. I know that it's a TrueX, though. Looking at it, I'm pretty sure it's a TrueX. So it should be a square of the same dimension. Valeritus, yeah, you could get here faster, buddy. If you don't know who he is, he has a store. You should check it out. He's in Texas. If you're ever looking for a store that distributes in the middle of the country, I'd hit him up for sure. I bought some stuff from there the other day. It was here fast. Dude knows what he's doing. He just needs more customers. You know, the big stores are hard to compete with. But I keep Pyrodrone for if I want to order from the East Coast. I have Race Day from the West Coast. No, backwards. Flip that. And then I have him for Central. And he's always faster than either of those two when I'm in Central. Because, you know, if it doesn't have to cross a bunch of states, it's always quicker. Okay. Get in there with some solder. That went a little deep. I didn't want that. Stay out here. Stay out here. There you go. Okay. Not quite enough solder, so I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm melting this a tad. But I'm also soldering like two feet further away from myself than I usually do. That's why I put watch me solder badly. I knew it would happen. Cool off, please. Okay. It's sufficient. It's not my favorite thing, but it's sufficient. Okay. And we're going to have to put the cap on that, so I'm not going to slide that up for now. Curtis Hayes, what's the name of the store? The name of the store is the same as his username, VOLAERTUS. Save him as a favorite in your hotbar whenever you get to feeling like shipping something in the middle of the country. Because if you're from Texas, it's a lot faster to get it from him. And he has a pretty good selection of stuff. He's been beefing it up lately. So little one-on-one, yeah, it's Valeritus. I can never pronounce his name. That's what he chose for his store, and I can never remember how to spell it. But I have a hotbar favorite. So I recommend you do it with a hotbar favorite. Okay. We're going to let that cool off for a second. I'm going to switch views quickly. This one's always easier to switch to. All right. Yeah. Yeah, Curtis Hayes, he's a veteran too. Cool. I support him a little bit. All the little stores need some FPV love, man. We got to keep those places in business. For sure. If we don't keep places like that in business, we're all going to wind up being mercy to out-of-stock parts and high prices. So, for sure. All right. So we have the main leads on. Now we're going to have to do, I think I'm going to wait on the cap. I'm going to do the cap separately because I don't want to see you commit. I don't want you to see me commit the level of treason that's going to have to happen to get this cap on there. So we're going to work on motors next after this cools off. I'm going to give it a second though because it's pretty toasty. Saggy balls. What is the website? I will post the website. How about I do that now that I'm not soldering? I will go to my laptop over here and post the website. Let me find him real quick. Let me get my link out. Favorites, because he's in my favorites. And I think I put him in favorites bar. Let's see. Yep, home. Okay, I'm going to post a link in the chat to his website. There y'all go. Get him up. Like I said, always great to have an option in central US to ship from. Because sometimes there's floods in Florida, and sometimes there's earthquakes in California, and he's right in the middle where none of that happens. The only thing he has to worry about is tornadoes and floods of cows. That's the kind of thing we get here. So, what's up, for Quad's sake? I like that name. Nice, creative. Hey, Valerius, you're welcome, buddy. You're welcome. I want to see you succeed. Little shops need it. We need the little shops. Trey Cook is, oh my God, the only place selling the Grinderino. As far as I can tell, oh my God is still the only place shipping the Grinderino. I haven't seen it hit any other stores. I'm sure it will, but it could be because of stock levels. They're not going to ship out orders to distributors until they have enough in stock. So maybe they're still waiting. I don't know what the cutting is like, but I can ask Bot. I can ask Bot Grinder. He and I talk, not all the time, but sometimes. So I can definitely hit him up and ask him. He actually sent me this. He sent me this Grinderino. So if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be building it right now. What's up, Theo V? Frontline Fatal. You're my boy, Bacon. That reminds me of, what is that show? What is that movie? You're my boy, Blue. I forgot the name of the movie. Dang it. I knew it. I knew it, though. Oh, Valley Artists, they're shipping to us retailers. I have a few left. Okay, sweet. If you have some left and you want one, he might have it. So check him out. I don't think I've seen him on Pyro, though. Old School. That's the movie. Yes, thank you. That was driving me crazy. I was going nuts trying to think of what that movie was. Okay, this is probably cool enough. Let me see if I can switch back to my cameras. I don't know that I can. Oh, I did it wrong again. There we go. I did it right this time with 2 clicks. I'm using StreamYard, and sometimes it is not easy to figure out the buttons. What's up, Blizzard FPV? Thank you so much for a $22 super chat Canadian. I'll still take the Canadian dollars, even though I know they're covered in maple syrup. For you being you and doing what you do. Greetings from Canada. Thanks. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it a whole lot. It's been hard. You know, there are medical bills coming that I don't know about and all those other things. So I try to not think about it so much, but stuff like that is very helpful. Thank you. Because I don't want to wind up having to sell quads to pay for a new leg. But I'll do it if I have to. All right. We've got this out. It's cool enough to work with. So let's do some motor wires. And the great thing about using this kind of board with the 45-degree angle is that the motor wires are literally going to come straight up to the notches. So let's see. Trey Cook. Yeah. Hit Voliartis up. Good to see you too, buddy. I haven't seen you in the chat yet, so I bet you just joined up. So what I normally do is I take these motor wires and I hold them with my finger and I get them up to where I want them to go. I usually try to straighten them out a little too. If you have silicone wire, if you just pull on it a bunch of times and kind of bend it in either direction, it will straighten out for you. So I do that for a little bit here. Frontline Fatal can't watch right now. About to be flying with my dode. That's okay. I forgive you. It's fine. AH4 quad, or AH4. I said it wrong. Off for quad's sake. Put the motors on upside down and use 6-inch props. It'd probably sling them, which is saying a lot. Anyway, I take this and I push my finger down all the way to the things. And then usually what I do here is I get them lined up and then I take a pair of scissors, which are not in the right spot. I got to reach across for them. I stab myself with them a little bit. And then I trim them just above where they end. Because I'm going to come back and take this motor off and then strip them and tin them and then solder them on before I put the motor back on. But you always want to leave a little bit of slack. What you never want to do is go to change a stack after a build and then find that you don't have enough motor wire and have to solder on little in bits. That sucks. Don't do that. There we go. There's all 3 of those. Again, I'm doing this all like 2 feet from my face, so I can't. It's not how I normally do it. Frontline Fatal, thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Here's for help on some medical bills. Hope for a speedy recovery. I appreciate it, buddy. You know I do. Always appreciate you. Unfortunately, in the country that we live in, well, us United States citizens, the insurance system is terrible. And I work for a small company, which means insurance is even worse. So, yeah. But we all get through it. We live, and I really appreciate that help. Because it's going to pay for an MRI. It's what all this is going for. Okay, let's do this next one. So I'm going to push down again and get those in the groove. Try to hold them in the groove. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? There's no need for perfection here. It can be if you want it to be, but you don't have to. Okay. Got those in the groove. Now my mains lead is going to be in the way a bit. Snip those. And I will trim them perfectly whenever I get the bulk of it off. Move those out of the way. Okay. Oh, my wife is in the chat. Thank you for all the support of the channel. Y'all are amazing. Bacon's wife. She really does think you guys are amazing. She doesn't know how you watch my face as often as you do or for as long as you do. And she wonders about your mental sanity. We had this conversation a lot. She's not so sure how YouTube hasn't just started rejecting my videos, but she's very appreciative of all the help you guys give us. Very much. Because she don't want to pay for this hobby. If it wasn't for this stuff, I wouldn't have this hobby. Because the children like to eat, and I like to be able to feed them. There we go. And never throw your motor wire spares away. Your extra bits, always keep them. I have a whole bag just for that. I'm missing a whole bunch of messages, so let's see. Let's read some messages while I get this other one undone. What's up, FPV Bakal? Greetings from Istanbul. It makes me think of that song. Istanbul was Constantinople. Now it's Istanbul was Constantinople. And that song just sticks in my head for like 6 years. But awesome that you joined us from so far away. Bitterroot. Short wires just means you get to put on cool LED race wire. Yeah, if someone builds a quad and then they rebuild that same quad and the second time it has race wire, I don't have to ask what happened. I know. I've done it. It's okay. If that's something you have to do, you do it. I have just put extensions on these wires before, which I hate doing, but I will, rather than buy new motors just because the stupid wire lengths aren't right anymore. Okay, we have all 4 trimmed motor wires. And like I said, never throw away your little tidbits at the end. These little pieces of silicon wire are valuable to future endeavors. They definitely are. You never know when you need a little jumper. There's a solder ball in my mouse. Need a little jumper or something like that, and they will save you from having to buy wire for that stuff. FAZ, I can't read from here. It's FOZ. So FOZ TV, I use that AIO. Yeah, this is my first time using it. So far, I am pleased with this AIO. I'm thus far pleased with it. It's definitely a tough little dude. You know, I have the original Axis Flying. Before they did the Argus series, they had the iStack, that one in a box. I hate that flight controller. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I hate it. It doesn't mount into anything but their frame. I mean, it will, but it's a real pain if you want to use it in anything except for their Manta frame. And I could never get it to tune right. The gyro on it, it's supposed to be noise. It has noise dampening in there, but it just did not work for me. So this is the first Axis Flying stack that I have gotten outside of that iStack, and we're gonna see. But so far, I'm liking it. Definitely. Ligma FPV. I paid $900 for a doctor to rip a bandage off of a burn wound and put cream on it. Yeah. So those of you that have been around for a while, you probably know I was once bitten by dogs. I was bit by 2 pit bulls. Is the whole thing. I got tore up pretty good. Wound up having to go to the hospital. Wound up having to get some shots and courses of things because we didn't know where these dogs came from. Anyway, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. And even after insurance, I still owed like $15,000. There was no way I could pay. Luckily, my employer is a wonderful place, and the owner of that company wrote a check and paid for it. But yeah, it's crazy. Medical bill is just insane. Insane in this country. There's got to be a better way to do it. I'm not going to get political right now, but that's where I'm going to leave it. There's got to be a better way. Let's see. Ligma FPV Bacon, was that pink FC on Betaflight 4.5 when you got it? It was on 4.5 when I got it. In fact, it's the one that I started the video on how to flash Betaflight with. You might recognize it, but you can't download 4.5 except for in nightlies. So I did not flash it. I do nothing with it because until they're in RC, I'm not going to put another version of Betaflight on this. But I am going to keep 4.5 for sure. Saggy balls. I have some wonderful medical issues and pay $600 a month for my health insurance, but get my $6,000 a month shots for only $5. Yeah, I can't. So unfortunately, I get my insurance through work, but I can't afford to pay for anyone else's. So I'm the only person that's truly insured in this family. Now, for my daughter's stuff, because she's diabetic and we're talking thousands of dollars a month, We have some coverage there, but that stuff is all potential to end at any point. So yeah, it's great if you can get it and do it. Absolutely. My works coverage is not that good. I think it costs around the same money, but of course they pay for the employee. But yeah, it's still got like a $7,500 deductible. So, let's see. King Keck, what color? What colors? What colors you talking about? I have light blue, purple, and yellow. I had green, but used it all up. Talking about race wire? Are you talking about race wire? Yeah, install LEDs on my quads. Race wire. I never put LEDs on my quads. I just don't. Just not an LED person. If I want to fly, I don't want you to know I'm flying it most of the time. That's kind of the way I am with it. Let's see. Off for quad's sake. Does 4.5? Oh, I missed it. It ran away. There it goes. Does Betaflight 4.5, I'm assuming, still use 10.9 Betaflight? Yes, the configurator will still list it, but you have to pull down development releases, and you have to go into the Zulu stuff, which most people don't go into, and you never should unless you absolutely know what you're doing. But it's not even in release candidate yet. And I'm sure when it goes into RC, it will be in 10.9, but I would not doubt if that at some point we get like a newer version of 10.9 or a 10.10 or maybe an 11 version of configurator. So, yeah. Foz TV, no, it uses 10.10. I did it with 10.9 the other day. I found it with 10.9. I had to go to Zulus though. But I could flash 4.5 with 10.9. Now configuring it, you might be right. Maybe I'm wrong, but I did it with 10.9. I did not update to 10.10. King Keck. I want people to see my pretty quad with those gorgeous bright LEDs. Yeah, but then they come after you. No, they don't come after you. I've honestly never had anybody come after me that wasn't just interested. I know a lot of people have, but I haven't. And it's definitely not because I was flying or not flying LEDs. I don't know. Normally when I fly, I am doing it during the day, so the LEDs aren't a big deal. And if I am flying at night or flying indoors, I want to use the footage, and the LEDs taint the footage with whatever color the LEDs are. So I just stay away from them. I stay away from all the LEDs. Plus, you got to wire up a whole bunch of other crap to do LEDs. Ligma, I'm the same way. I have a box full of LEDs and don't even use them. I don't have the box full of LEDs though. I've never gotten any for review. I think that who was that? I think Fly High was going to send me some, but he wound up not. Anyway, I never have any, and I really don't ever use them. So I'm going to take this motor off so I can start stripping these wires now that I've read some comments. Rick James, I like to stay incognito when I fly. I agree, buddy. I like to be incognito. The other day I was flying when I was doing that footage that you saw at the beginning. If you were here for the beginning, the terrible spanging with the 3.5-inch cine whoop. That was on a day where there's a football game literally right on the corner. So my house, our lot, we're the only house on the entire block, and the rest of it's all just field. And the block next to us is all field, and the block to the south of us is all park. The block to the north of us is the football field. It's the stadium for the team here. So they had a football game going, and I was out there flying, and some people were standing around watching. But that's about as not incognito as I ever get. For quad's sake, my quad looks beautiful until it goes through a roof. How fast are you flying, buddy? How fast are you flying? You going through roofs and stuff? I don't think that's how that works. If it is, it shouldn't be. All right, let's strip these wires back. I'm gonna try to do it somewhat evenly. Even stripped wires. I'm not gonna do the desk cam for you to see me strip wires because that's boring. But yeah, DJ Sonic, shouldn't the owners of the dogs take responsibility? He's talking about when I got bit. Yes. However, we never found the dogs. The only time I ever found them was when they were eating me. The dogs went back home somewhere. Those dogs were not meant to get out of a yard, and they did get out of a yard, and I'm sure someone put them straight back in the yard and pretended they didn't own them. That's exactly how that worked. I would love to have caught whoever did own them so that they could at least be aware their dogs like to eat humans and keep them away from them. Yeah. All right. That's pretty even. That's pretty even. Let me see if I can switch over now. Let's do this. There we go. I'm learning how to use this. Gotta move my pile of spare wire, though. It's in the way now. But you should still keep it, even if it's in the way. So I have this motor. So I have choices. What I think I'm going to do is put these in the horseshoe and then solder down so that I can kind of tuck the motor wire under the board. I think it's going to work out best. And I'm only going to do one at a time. I'm going to do the whole thing to just one at a time so that I can keep track of which one was the right length for what. So I'm going to use my Hako for this, though. So let me get my Hako spinning. Let's see. I'm going to do 850 degrees. Because why not? It can. Zorlok. I almost missed it again. Don't miss it again, buddy. I know you're sitting there not doing anything. And you can absolutely sit here and watch. Sit here and watch, Zorlok. Zorlok? Orlok. Zorlok. You're Zorlok now. Or I'll just call you Orlok. There's an X at the end. So maybe it is Orlok. I've never asked you how to say your name. That's on me. I should have done that a long time ago. Saggy balls. Let's see. Is there such a thing as a 30 by 30 AIO that fly a 5-inch on 4S? A 30 by 30 AIO? Maybe. Most of them are 25 by 25 because that's just a standard mounting pattern for an AIO. But I believe there may be one or two that are full 30 by 30 that can probably do a 5-inch. I don't remember if the iFlight Beast H7 is 30 by 30 or not, but that one was very popular for doing a lightweight 5-inch build on. Moist bought Zorlok's or Orlok's Nebula camera in the Discord. We started up a whole thing where you can buy, sell, and trade in the Discord. That's been a good time. Lots of people have found good deals in there, though. Apparently, Moist is enjoying that camera. Come on, Hako, heat up. There you go. Tell me you're done. I am not going to solder directly over this motor. That is not what I was going to do. Pretend that didn't happen. Just ignore the existence of what I just did there. Okay. And if you don't know how I'm holding my iron, it is the world's fanciest brick. I don't have one of those things that you put the iron in, so I have a brick, and I lay it on the brick, and it works just fine. Veritas Weasel, thank you for a $19.99 super chat. Have a great day. I appreciate you being here. I do. I appreciate everyone being here, but thank you very much, Veritas Weasel, for this super chat. It is much appreciated. Like I said, 100% of that's going to pay for an MRI. See how badly I screwed up my knee. I assume it's pretty bad, considering how much it hurts. And the doctor seems to be pretty concerned. But, Killshot FPV. How we doing, Bacon? I'm doing good. I'm smelling solder. I'm always good when I'm smelling solder. I think I might be able to tin these where you guys can somewhat see it. With the Hako, anyway, because I don't have to hold it in a weird way. If you've never used a butane iron, and no, this is not a butane iron, but I was using one earlier. If you've ever used a butane iron, it has an exhaust. And the exhaust can totally be in the wrong spot sometimes. Okay, get in there. I made a decision to do this where you could see it, and that might have been the wrong decision. They're going to look ugly. It's okay. I'm just tinning. It's fine if they look ugly during tinning because you just go back and you hit them with a little heat, and they won't look ugly anymore. It's kind of like beer goggles for solder. Hit it with a little more beer, and it's not ugly anymore. All right, there we go. They're tinned. Rick James, bricks are cool underappreciated face fuchsia white eyes. Oh, it didn't show me the emoji. It spelled out your emoji. It says bricks are cool and underappreciated face fuchsia white eyes. Look what it did. Look what it did to your emoji. You spent all that time to pick the emoji. And it just gave me the text instead. It said, screw you. You get to read it. All right. So I'm going to pop this up. Let me move my mouse out of the way. Fun per volt. Macaroni scented solder is where it's at. Dude, that's disgusting. Macaroni scented solder. That would be like burned hair. It'd be gross, man. What are you doing? All right. There we go. That's a nice ball. Nice ball. Real nice ball. Okay. Try to get this in there. I should have not used the Hako for this, but I wanted to use the Hako. That one might need a little bit of flux. But I'm just going to make it suffer through it. All right, there we go. No flux. Don't need no flux. Get out of here. One more. Here we go. Look at that. Almost like I know what I'm doing. Not quite. For quad's sake, always put more solder on than you think. Then you get good balls. Sweaty balls. Good sweaty balls. Okay. Yeah, I always put a little bit more on than I think. And the nice thing about using a little extra is you can always get it off. If you've never done that, no, you don't need solder wick. What you do is you get your iron hot, you dab it in and pull it off quickly, and then you dip it in the tip cleaner, and then you do it again. And it will suck up a little bit of solder at a time until you no longer have excess solder. That is the cheap and easy way to do it that I highly recommend rather than owning solder wick. All right. This time I'm going to solder this facing me so that I can see it. It's probably for the best. Deadly M24, what's up? Ligma. I personally just use waterproof with silicone and conformal coating where it's perfect. You just waterproof with silicone and conformal coating. Yeah, I never waterproof, ever. But it is pretty dry where I live. We will see in the wintertime if that is smart of me or not. Of course, I've flown for like almost 3 winters now, and I have never, ever destroyed a quad in snow. And I have flown over snow. Surprisingly, even though it's Texas. All right, I'm going to tin these, and then we're going to do the wires. We'll size the wires. You're not supposed to smell the solder. Man, I love the smell of solder. It's like WD-40 or gasoline. I don't know what it is. It's just something visceral for me that it does. I've always loved it. Probably damaging my brain cells. But, so are lots of other things that I do. Like, I gotta use MG Chemicals silicone-based conformal coating, way more flexible and doesn't chip. Yes, I have MG Chemicals conformal, and if I was to conformal coat anything, it would be with MG Chemicals conformal. Yes, that motor is hanging there, and yes, I'm gonna let it do it. If it can't survive hanging there while you're soldering it, then it's not soldered well enough. Just a thought. For quad's sake, Kester solder 6337. Happy days, expensive though. Yes, I like Kester solder. This is not Kester solder I'm using, which is why it doesn't flow as well. But that's okay because I am not like super concerned with prettiness or any of that most of the time. So as long as it's functional, I let it go. And this stuff is functional. This is my solder, whatever cheap stuff they had on Amazon. It's 6337 though, so at least it's the right blend. Susan Bell, thank you. I made that background. Said that I love that background. I made that background a while ago. Actually, the first live stream that I was ever on. Whose live stream was that? E-Drone's live stream. I made that background for that, and I just kind of stuck with it. I like it too. Lots of bacon back there. Plus, I like the whole gentle transition between gray and different shades of gray. So it's not like it sticks out a whole lot, which I enjoy. Fun per volt. Got a couple tubes of worry free. I'll waterproof this orange get lit build. I've never used Worry Free. A lot of people swear by it. I've never used it. If I'm going to do anything, I just put the MG Chemicals Conformal on there and call it a day. Because if it's at the point where it's so submerged that I have to worry about having put goo on it, it's probably dead from other reasons anyway. I've probably killed it that hard that it doesn't matter how conformal it was. Okay. Those are sized. I may have to trim them back a tad. I don't know if I like how long those are. But let's get them tinned. Waste one winter under my belt in FPV and no quads damage so far. That's all you can ask for. If the quad gods haven't destroyed one of your quads during winter, you're doing well. I think a lot of people lose a quad during winter. Hell, a lot of people lose a quad during summer. Ask Saggy Balls how to lose a quad during summer. Well, it's technically fall now, isn't it? Oop. Had a solder ball drop on my helping hands. Oh no, it dropped all the way on my mat. And this mat is not solder proof. So it just melted right into it. It's fine. I don't care. Okay, where are my skizzers? There are my skizzers. When trimming wires, do not do it over your flight controller. I always lean way back and just pop off the tips. It's going to be hard to hear me probably, but there we go. Now they're the right size. Bitterroot. I use SRA soldering products, 312 no clean flux, alcohol based. Apply it with a brush. I know, but the alcohol, this is SRA. This is the same stuff, basically. This is 312. Yeah, it's the exact same thing, but in a pin. It's okay. It's all right. I like paste better. If I had to choose one kind of flux that I had to use forever and ever, it would be paste flux. Because it just sticks so well. Like you know when it's fluxed. The alcohol-based stuff, A, you can't see it, and B, runs so easy. Like sometimes I'll touch that thing to a part, and it just like floods the whole board with solder or with flux, and I don't like that. I mean, it's convenient, and you don't have to clean it, which is nice, but I'm just not a fan when I could use paste. Okay, and nope, you can't see this one. This one's for me, bro, because I don't want to be able to see it. These are important. I need to be able to see this one. Because if these are wrong, then this build is not going to make a good video. It will be on fire. And I only get one shot at this. Nobody's going to send me replacement parts because I screwed up. Axis Flying will just say, nah, you suck. No more. Okay. Well, that's the rear two. The front two, actually. Front two motors are done. They don't look half bad on there. Looking okay. Yeah. Not too shabs. All right. So now that I have those done, I'm going to put oh no. I have to take the back button off this mouse. There's a button on the side of the mouse that makes the browser go back. And it is the bane of my existence. I'm going to get a new mouse or destroy this button. One of the two. One of these two things is happening. Okay. All right. Here we are. I was getting to this one anyway. Again, little one. Yes, again. I did that same thing last week. That button's got to go. But I'm not going to do it on stream because I will press it again in the process. I'm not threatening you with a screw. I'm using it. I'm going to put the screws back in these front motors. And then we're going to do the same thing to the rears. Let's see here. Ligma just lost a 6-inch with an O3 Air Unit a few weeks ago. That's sad. That's sad. It hurts to lose an O3. Little one-on-one. Just get a mouse that you can program. So much easier. Yes, I have one. It's in the house. It is not out here where everything is as cheap as possible. I can't own 2 of something. Well, except quads, because, you know, I have reasons I can own these. I can't own 2 mice. What's that about? Even at work, I have a cheap little like Logitech, but it doesn't have that back button. So maybe I'll swap them out. Maybe I'll make this one my work mouse. Yeah, Susan, she'll fight you. She'll fight you. My wife is a fighter. She'll come at you with fingernails and all kinds of stuff. Plus, I'm not as good as you'd think. I'm a lot of work. High maintenance. You can ask her about that. She'll vouch for it. Susan Bell has 3 cats. I love cats. I do love cats. I have 1 cat. My wife, for her birthday, which was last week on Thursday, I'm not going to say how old she turned because I'm smarter than that. She got 2 birds. It's a whole thing. If you look on the channel, we had pigs. Well, we only had pigs for about a week. Apparently, the city here does not like the ownership of pigs. So they told us the pigs had to go. We went downtown to register the pigs and make sure that we had all the proper permits. Because online, it says that that's totally possible, and that's the thing you should do. So we went and did it. The city said, nope, you can't own pigs in town. Even though their website says, yes, you can own pigs in town with a permit. So they had to make us get rid of our pigs. Luckily, I know someone, they took them. Well, she had been wanting birds. So to make her feel better on her birthday, I couldn't go do it because I can't walk. But she went and got 2 birds. She got 2 parakeets. And my cat has been outside more than that cat has ever been outside since those parakeets. But hopefully they learn to get along. She hasn't tried to eat them. My cat is a girl. Her name is Daenerys. She hasn't tried to eat the birds yet. But I don't want her to try to eat the birds. And I know Nikki is concerned about her eating the birds. Because her birthday presents are not snacks for a cat. That would be sad. What's up, Glorious Quads? Good to see you. Deadly M24, where's that dog that you got? I still have a dog. He's inside. He's just lazy. Actually, he's my wife's dog. I'll admit it. He doesn't like me. He respects me, though. That's fine. He doesn't like me, but we have a mutual understanding. He does respect me. He knows what get off my chair means. And that's what matters. Especially lately, when I have to be in a specific chair because it's the only way I can sit. Oh, Susan Bell. Oh. Susan Bell is my daughter pulling a prank on me. Sad. Sad. I know where you sleep, child. Go take a shot. Samuel Moore. I'm not a legend. The vendors are, but thank you. They gave me all the stuff to give to you. I am, however, still trying to get it all shipped out. The post office in the small town where we live decided it'd be cool to just start sending the packages back to us. And then whenever we take the packages to be sent, they make us pay twice. I've already paid for it online with Click and Ship. And then they make us pay for it again because they can't understand how to process Click and Ship, which is awesome. So it's taken a long time to get everything shipped out. I'm down to the last 3 things on the first giveaway episode, and then I'll have this whole other episode's worth next week. So yeah. My children are playing with me, or the older child is playing with me in chat. My wife is involved. It's going to be a whole debacle. All I know is that when I get done, there should be chili for dinner. So she'll make up for it with really awesome chili. Rick James, country ass post office. Yeah, for real. My wife took the package down for me to South Africa. It was one of the people who won. It was in South Africa. She took the package because it wound up coming back to my house, like I said. And they had no idea how to do an international package. They had to look in the manual on how to do an international package and then call somebody else. And then she took another package a different day, same thing, different person. That's how many international packages they process at this post office. Literally none. So it's taken me a long time to get this stuff shipped out. Yeah, chili. Texas chili, though. Comes in a can. The best part of chili is Fritos. Fight me. If you don't eat your chili with Fritos, who are you? And they have, well, okay, they don't have to be Fritos. They have to be good quality corn chips, though. We have HEB here in Texas, and HEB's chips are better than Frito-Lay's, not going to lie. And their corn chips are acceptable. But you can't use crappy corn chips with Cheetos, or with Cheetos, with chili. I mixed the word chili and Fritos together. My bad. It's the solder smoke, I'm telling you. Something in it. All right. I'm ready to solder this motor. I guess I should venture over to this mouse again and don't press the buttons and see if I can. Maybe. Nope, I did it wrong again. There we go. I'm backwards. I'm backwards. We're going to make this one. There we go. And then if I press this button, it's still wrong. And I don't know why it does this. There we go. I'm just going to rotate through this. There we go. You can just watch it like that. You can hear me talk. That's it. That's all. I'm done clicking that mouse. Rick James wants Texas brisket. You can have it, but it's not cheap. We haven't made brisket. We used to make brisket quite a bit. Well, especially my father-in-law, my wife would actually cook a brisket. She knows how to smoke a brisket, and she's very good at it. But my father-in-law can smoke a good brisket too. It's just now you can't afford to smoke a brisket unless you want to spend $150 on a meal, which I don't. I don't like it. That's coming off. I don't like it. It bent over. It bent over. I really need to fix this. Hold on a second. I've got to fix this where you can't see me thing because I'm going to be too talkative. Watch me struggle. Watch me struggle. All right. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this right. Nope, I can't get this right. You're going to watch it like this because this is the one I know how to use. Yeah, she says that I have to say nice things because she's here and she's not wrong. I do eventually have to go in the house where she is. So, it behooves me to be nice. I've learned this after being married for 14 years. Mystic Squash, perfect. Yes, Curtis Hayes, Lord Siemens of Glencoe, that would be me. Yes, I did buy the stupid little thing that makes you a Scottish lord or whatever. It was mostly just for the fun of it, though. I know it's not real. Just for the fun of it. I bought a couples pack, actually, for me and my wife. And I thought we could share in the fun together. And it was an anniversary present. So I know it's not a real thing. But we can feel like it is. And I got to change my Facebook because, that's fun. But you'll find I'm not on Facebook very often. Get in there. Can't see very well. I'm going to use tweezers. On the third one, I finally decided to use the proper tool. You should always have a sufficient set of tweezers of different sizes. They come in handy in all kinds of situations for building quads. Look how much easier it is when I use the right tool. So much easier. There we go. If I had only done that 2 motors ago. Monkey D. Damn, I can't even maintain a relationship longer than 2 years. It's not easy. It is a lot of work. But it's worth it. And yes, we have been together 15 years and been married for 14 of those 15 years. And no, we didn't have our first child till we were married at 5 years. So it's not why you think it is. Although some people think it is. It's for a totally legitimate reason. We loved each other before there were children. Moist. There's a place here in Chico that does a pulled brisket grilled cheese. Oh, that does sound good. Can't go wrong with like beef and cheese. Almost no way to screw that up. And now that I'm talking nice about her, every time I have one of these streams, I always go inside and she says, "You didn't see my comment. How come you never read my comments?" Today, I will not have that said to me. Deadly M24. Which motors are these? These are going to be RCM Power. They are 1506. Yeah, 1506, 3000 kV. And the reason they're RCM Power is basically because of the size. I wanted the 1506. I wanted a taller stator. I also wanted the 5mm shaft for regular props. So it just happened to be that RCM Power had that combination of things in stock. And that's what I went with. You could totally go with a cheaper motor. Does not have to be these. I thought about doing 2004s for a minute on here too, because I have 2004s on another 3-inch-ish quad. But they're a little bit overkill. So I went with 1506. All right, let's solder this. Get this all tinned up. We almost got all the motors on, and we're only an hour and 15 minutes into this. Usually this would take me about 20 minutes to do. I did say shaft, Rick James. Shaft. I know that's not what you meant, but that's what I heard in my head. King Keck. That sounds good. I'm from Wisconsin. You can't go wrong with cheese, beef, chicken, pork. Add cheese to it all. You're right. You're right. I know someone who doesn't like cheese. And I never thought, and I'm not talking about like they have lactose intolerance and can't tolerate cheese. I'm talking about literally doesn't like cheese, like with a vengeance, hates the stuff. I've not met many people that don't like cheese. If you don't like cheese, yeah, write it up in the comments, because I just don't think it's that common of a thing. People love cheese. We're not made to eat it. No, we're not supposed to eat it. It's not something our bodies are made to process. It's for baby cows. But God, it's good. And I love to eat it. Rick James, I don't trust people that don't like cheese. I'm right there with you. But this guy was my boss, man. He's not my current boss, but he was my boss at one point. He just didn't like cheese. We'd go out to eat somewhere for, we were out doing a job. And he just like get mad if they brought cheese out on his plate. I don't know. Yeah, King Kick. Everyone I know that's lactose intolerant loves cheese and ice cream. That's how they found out. But I mean, sadly, I am not. Thank God. I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't eat cheese, milk. I love all that stuff. Too much. How I got where I'm at. It's like at least 100 pounds of what I am is cheese. Okay. Again, you can't really see me do this one because I want to do it correctly, but I will use tweezers this time to make my life simpler. Having the right tool is good. Using the tool that you have is better. I don't know why I didn't choose to use it before. I had it right there in front of me. I'm just stupid. It happens. FPV Bacall. Jesus. Sweet Jesus. All right. We've almost got all the motors on this thing. I don't know. We might ELRS this sucker right here. We might. I got to decide where I'm going to put the receiver, though. I'm not 100% on it. Either that or I might get the mains lead done. With you watching. Yeah, I don't like it. Don't like it. Got to touch that one back up. My cable is all twisted over here. There we go. That's the downside to corded ones. Another upside for butane. So you don't have to worry about a cord being all twisty. There we go. That's better. That's a better. There we go. Last one. And That one's worse than any of them. Terrible. Terrible work, Bacon. All right. I got it. I fixed it. King Keck. I eat cheese on my cheese. Yes. Yes. Bird Fam FPV. Sweet build, man. Yes. Thank you. Finally made it. I'm glad. It is going to be a pretty sweet build, though. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited to fly it. I think it's going to be a hell of a ripper whenever I get it done. Yes, again, the motor's hanging. But like I said, if it can't hang there, then you didn't solder it well enough. And it's going to come off in flight anyway. So it might as well come off now. Oh, that's the wrong screw. That one's not near long enough. How did that get mixed in there? Profuse lipos, FPV Bacall. Does anybody else use them? Mine are so bad. Do you mean yours that are profuse, or are you looking at profuse because yours are so bad? I'm guessing the second thing. Little one-on-one. I'm over here troubleshooting my drone. It is doing a breakdance and throttling up to take off at hover. Prop direction. Props on correctly. That's usually what happens as soon as you throttle up. It could also be board orientation. Check that too. But you want to run through the motor direction wizard after looking at your props, make sure they're on appropriately. Make sure that if you have it marked for props in or props out, they are actually doing props in or props out. And make sure in the motor direction wizard that you get everything you expect. And then check your board orientation. It's got to be one of those things. It's almost always one of those things. FPV Bacall. No, I have one Profuse 3S for my goggles, and it's terrifying. Do you want a terrifying lipo next to your face? Buy Profuse. I don't know. I've never used them. But the fact that it's terrifying, I would not put it near my face. Just gonna throw that out there. Okay, so we have all the motors on. Before we burn our face off with a terrible lipo, let's see. That's where the VTX is going to go. So now I have to make a decision about ELRS and this cap. Man, I'd really love this cap to not be on the end of the lead. It's never great to have the cap on the end of the lead. You only do it when you absolutely have to. I'm determining if I absolutely have to. Because, God, I really don't want to do that. I would much prefer to not. Yeah, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to put the cap on the lead. I don't think there's a way around it. But for now, and I don't have to solder the HT0 stuff because the harness actually fits. So we're not going to solder that. I am going to stop for a second and we will just take some conversation. I'm going to let this iron come down from being hot for a minute here. And I'm going to have to look at my diagram and figure out where I'm going to put my ELRS on the board. I think, see, you actually get a real diagram with Axis Flying. That's pretty rare now. Honestly, you got to go to the website for this most of the time. It's handy to have a printed copy, as long as they keep it up to date. But I got to figure out which UART I'm going to be on. Orlock, is that a fire in your pants or just a profuse lipo? The second thing. Both? Maybe? It's entirely possible. It's pro, though, man. It starts with pro. How can you go wrong when something starts with pro right there in the name? Oh, I kicked the camera. I kicked the desk cam. My bad. You didn't notice because I'm using a different cam. Moist. I spent my power bill money on FPV, so I'm going to be in the dark for a couple days. Yeah. Adult can suck sometimes. Yeah, it sure does. It sure does. I can remember a time where I had no gas, no food. I had one child. No gas in the car. I mean, like, also no gas in the house. So we took cold showers. We had to cook everything in the microwave. We couldn't flush the toilets because it would just back up into the floor. Yeah, those were rough times. We ate meat once a week. It was a Salisbury steak family-sized dinner. The rest of the week was buttered noodles. You know what you were coming home to every day. There was no surprises. I don't miss that. My daughter's asking me if I'd like a drink or anything. Yes, I would. I would love a drink. But when you come out here to bring me the drink, child, thank you for bringing it. The door is closed, so you'll have to figure out how to open it. King Keck, Gep RC and Rush still do paper diagrams. Nice. It's been a while since I've had. I shouldn't have been talking while I did that. Been a while since I've had a Gep RC flight controller or a Rush one. I've always wanted to try Rush, but then I say I want to try Rush, and people tell me, not worth trying. It's just a thing, it's just a flight controller. But I still want to try it. It seems like they make good stuff. And it's a brand that I just haven't experienced much. I love their VTXs. If I had to pick an analog VTX, it would always be in the Rush Solo line, or the Tank Solo, not the Rush Solo line, the Rush Tank line. I love their VTXs. But yeah. Bird Fam FPV. Now life is great ever since I found FPV. That's great, man. I'm glad it does that for you. It's definitely a therapeutic experience, and one of the reasons I enjoy it so much, I spent the first year of FPV taking a part of the day or part of a day every week to go fly, and yeah, it was great. It was so stress relieving and clarifying. It was terrific. I don't get to fly as much anymore. Now that I have a place to fly, it might be better. Oh, there's my child with the drink. The order has been served. Let's see what I got. I got a Dr. Thunder. Dr. Thunder. Diet Dr. Thunder.
This is my room.
Thank you, Susan. Stop pretending to be other people on my live stream comments. Take a shot.
Okay.
Not of alcohol. She's a diabetic. Okay. Rick James, I'm still waiting for. Oh, I still have a comment up. I'm sorry, Bird Fam. Again, awesome that it does that for you. Rick James FPV, I'm waiting on my HTC V2 to ship. I hate waiting. Yeah, I need to ask Carl about that. I meant to ask Carl when they were going to start shipping to manufacturers and then shipping out. So I need to follow up on that because I hadn't got an answer. He answered me about some other stuff. In fact, I asked him about this particular build. I'm going to open this so it's going to be loud. Because if you don't have any experience with this Axis Flying F7 AIO, there's only one BEC on it, and that BEC is a 5-volt 3-amp. Which is great, except most HD VTXs are better run on a BEC to keep voltage spikes out, and HG0 rates their V2 up to 25 volts, and the 6S pack is higher than 25 volts. So I asked him to make sure that it would be okay, and he told me I should be perfectly safe to run it on 6S. Just use a cap, not a big deal. So if you're ever wondering, that's what Carl told me, and that's why I picked it for this. I was going to do walk snail, like I said at the very beginning, but I really want the HG0 in it. But the rating for voltage and stuff is, different. So it should be fine to run it on 6S, though, according to Carl, and he should know. Rick at Night said he heard October 19th, or October 9th, not 19th, for shipping on the V2s. That would be great, so it's not super long. But Moist FPV, I hate alcohol. It's ruined my life, and I don't even drink. I don't drink either, honestly. Maybe once a year, and not very much. I'm just not big on it. But I do know people who have had some serious problems with it, and sometimes it's very not good. Very, very. Monkey D, Zaza is much better. What's Zaza? Are you talking about pizza? Like pizza? Because I agree. Pizza is a problem for me, but I'm not going to give that up. Well, herbs over drinks. King Cake. Herbs. I know it's how it's spelled. It's just funny to say it that way. All right, so Saggy Balls. He's going to maybe send me this quad. He connected his Apex to a power supply, and it all seems to work well. It pulls about 0.5 amps sitting here, about 1.6 amps at idle, prop spinning, and the Vista's on. Bad battery. Maybe. Maybe. He's had problems with this thing for a year, and I want to kind of start a series and think about this because I'm serious, where it's called Fix My Effing Quad, and I just have people send me their trouble children quads. Like, really trouble. I'm not talking about it just won't arm or something like that. Really trouble quads. Not ones that have been burnt to the ground. I'm not into that. But that I fix and then explain what I went through to figure out what's wrong with it and what I needed to do to fix it and how I knew through the whole process. Because I think watching people go through the troubleshooting process and seeing the steps involved and the decisions that we make, can be really helpful. And I think that being able to do that for people on camera would be cool. And Saggy Balls just happens to have a really terrible flying quad and really terrible luck. So perfect candidate. But I am thinking about doing that series. I think it would be a lot of fun for everybody to watch. And I enjoy the problems. And although I have all these quads, I rarely have really, really bad problems just because I typically build things in a way I know how to build them. But I have to usually make my own problem. Like if it's a bad problem I'm showing you how to fix, I have to create that problem to be able to show you. But if other people have problem quads, I'm totally into it. Yeah. The flying grip. Yes, we are live. Greeting from the clouds. Are you on a plane right now? Where are you going on a plane right now? That's the real question. Apache Smoke, that would be great. Yes, send me one of your quads all the way from over there. The shipping will cost the same as a quad. That's the sad part. It's going to be hard for international people. Oh, Monkey D, yeah, it might not be an airplane. He could still be high in the sky without the airplane. That's true. I just took it at what it said. All right, I guess we should finish this, huh? I guess I should work on this more. Should we do ELRS or should we put the cap on? That's the question. Because those are the last two things to solder. And for ELRS, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Should I put the receiver up here or try to put it on top of the VTX? I kind of want the space on top of the VTX for a second battery strap. So I might be about putting the ELRS up here. And if that's the case, the solder pads for this are up toward the front of the board. So it would make sense. I'll just have to make them very short. But I guess we can start with soldering the ELRS receiver itself, which I have over here. It's going to be a Radiomaster RP1 because this is the standard that I use. When I want to use a nice one, I use a Radiomaster. If I want to be really cheap, I'll use a Happymodel. I've never had a problem. Well, okay, never. I've had one problem with Happymodel receivers. I have owned 50 of them. I've had one bad one out of the 50. I've never had a bad Radiomaster. They're just better quality made. So if you want to spend a few more dollars, I like the Radiomaster ones. But I guess we could solder that up real quick. I hit the button again. I hit the button again. What? Oh, I'm so sorry, Moist. Yeah, I'm sorry. That makes sense, though. It makes sense why you don't like it. I have seen it ruin a lot of families. Just take that for what it is. I'm sorry to hear that for you, buddy. My wife is asking me if I hit the button again. Yes, I hit the button again. Okay, so some of the super chats might go to get me a new mouse for this. That might be the case. Okay, I am locating the mouse over here, away from where I can harm myself with it. Fun per volt. I said hit the tiny button, not the button that says tiny. Yeah. 3 times, man. Once on the other stream and twice on this one. Twice. Glorious quads. We have the perfect trouble quad with desync issue. I wish I could send that one. Hey, man, send it. I'll look at it. I can't guarantee I'll fix everything. But I will for sure look at it and fix it if I can. Like in Saggy Ball's instance, if it's a new flight controller it needs, I'm going to put a flight controller in it. If it's a new frame, I'm going to put it on a different frame. It's going to go back to him flying one way or the other. My wife, please someone get him a new mouse. It's bad, okay? I didn't realize that button was there until this last live stream. And then I found it, and now I forgot again. And I just went to pick up the mouse, hit the stupid button. I'm going to have to just put the mouse down, and you're going to have to live with this split screen that I never change for the rest of the stream, just so I can make sure that it stays active. All right, let's move that out of the way. We've got our Radiomaster RP1. Yeah, ELRS receivers continue to blow my mind how small they are. It is awesome that they are literally, that's the tip of my finger, that's the receiver. Literally that small and can do so much range for that size. One of the things I really like about the Radiomaster ones is they label the pads on the backside. You can't see it because it's real small, but this side's labeled, this side isn't. So I like to solder to the side that's labeled just because it's labeled. So I'm going to get this set up in my helping hands, which my helping hands, this thing is bent and broken, so they don't help a lot, but they help a little. They're not super helpful hands. Fun for Volt. A bead of super glue and that button will never move again. That's what's happening to it after the stream. It has bitten me 3 times. 3 times is my limit of being bitten by a button. Alliteration. Bitten by a button. All right, let's tin these. These pads are much easier to tin than pads we've been working on. And I do like to go back and add a little bit more, make them bubble a little bit more. Because you want to have a nice amount of solder on there, which you can't see this, but there you go. Maybe you can see that. You want to have a nice amount of solder on there to get the wires on. And a Radiomaster sends you these nice pre-tinned wires. Rick at Night, I support the glue. Yeah, I'm sure. It's freaking annoying whenever my stream just drops. Luckily, I'm using a service that doesn't totally crap it if I press a button. If I was using like OBS, it would be totally screwed. All right, let's get these wires separated. I know they're all twisted, but I'm going to untwist them because I like to use them individually with this kind of thing. I'll straighten it before I put it on, and then we'll just tap it on there. And it's always easy working with small wire. I can't put any pressure on this because my helping hands don't hold up to pressure. So I've got to be gentle, but firm. Firm but gentle. All right. 3 more wires here. And then honestly, the last of this, well, no, I got to put the cap on. But most of the soldering will be done within 3 more wires. We're going to make TX white because it usually is. So TX will be white. And then RX will be green. There we go. And I'm not going to heat shrink this receiver yet. Curtis says, I am using StreamYard because it's web-based. Like I have OBS and I do a lot of my like desk cam shooting with OBS. But I like StreamYard because it can do multiple cameras easily. I can do it from just about anything. I don't have to encode locally. And I can bring other people in because I totally want to get other people on these streams at some point. I want to bring in people that know things about things I don't, just so we can get more knowledge. But yeah, I use StreamYard. It is not free. They have a free version, but it watermarks your stuff. I have the paid version, obviously, because it's not watermarked. But yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it to be able to do it easier. Otherwise, I'd never be able to do these things. So, King Keck. Green, yellow for the RX. Well, it's the colors it came with, though. It only came with white and green. So I picked white for TX and green for RX because I could. All right, so let's assume for a second that I want to put the receiver down here. Will it fit? Will it fit? Oh, yeah, it'll fit just fine. And I could even bring the wires up and I could go here. That's probably a good spot. That's going to be right under the camera. And the camera will sit there. Always try to dry fit your stuff when you can. The camera's going to sit and not interfere. So that'll be perfect. So yeah, I think I'll just trim them to somewhere around here and then re-tin them. Let's see. I'm going to give myself plenty of extra room though, just in case. I'm going to trim them to here and then re-tin them. A Halloween colored drone, everyone says. I mean, just orange. Or black and orange. Could be true. I don't have a new drone to build, though. This is the only one I'm building for a while. Well, no, wait a minute. I do have one. I can't tell you what it is yet, though. And I won't be able to tell you till after Halloween. So that's sad. But, all right. Now we got to strip these. I don't use strippers. Again, strippers are plural. I just use my fingernails. That's easier. Purple and orange, says Rick at Night. Yeah, that'd be cool. Like, my wife, I give you permission to buy one. You heard it here. Well, you can give me all the permission in the world, babe. That doesn't mean I have the money to buy one. I appreciate the permission. That doesn't mean I can afford to buy one. Yeah. That'd be cool, though. Purple and orange and black, maybe. Do like a Halloween themed one. But I do have one quad that I might be building before then. It's just going to depend. It should be here this week. It's just going to depend on when that company decides to release it, if I could show it to you or not before Halloween. So if I can show it to you, then totally I will do it. But I might not be able to show you that quad before Halloween. Because, you know, I promised them I wouldn't show their stuff ahead of when their release times are. Fun per volt. Or no, King Keck said that. That's why you get permission, because it can't be done. She knows it too. She'll give me permission for things I can't do. No, she was being genuine. I just genuinely don't have the money to buy one. Fun per volt. Need to build another ghost quad. Last one was 6 foot diagonal with 13-inch props. Like ghost quad is in like all white like a ghost. Oh, look, my helping hands. They're not very helpful anymore. Useful. At least I got the last thing I needed out of them before they decided to just totally break. I've had those for a long time, though. Saggy balls. Just don't tell the company you showed us. They'll know. They'll know. They watch stuff on here all the time. They'll know. I don't want to do that to them. Take their competitive advantage away by giving away their release timelines. All right, I got those trimmed down. Let's find where we want to put this on the board, eh? I'm going to pull this over to me so I can read it. I don't want to do it on that side. So I think it's T4R4. Let me consult my diagram real quick. Oh, fun for volt. Halloween themed. Yeah. I kind of want to do one that was it one that like had the ghost hanging from it where you could make it fly, or like a witch or something on a broom kind of thing? I think that'd be really cool. It's going to take a bigger quad than I can afford to build, though. Okay. Those two, R2T2 on this side. So this flight controller has a pad called DV5V. DV5V. It's the only one labeled DV5V. It's supposed to go to the receiver. I am assuming that DV5V is like direct voltage 5 volt. Like maybe it powers up with the USB. I don't know. Quad cloaking fun per volt. What are you cloaking? How are you accomplishing this cloak? For quad sake, I'm going to get some transparent orange and purple TPU now. Yeah, I'm actually like, I can tell you this one. It's possible that I will get a Bamboo Labs printer. I don't think they'll send me the AMS though, the thing that makes it print multicolor. But if they don't, maybe at some point I'll get an AMS, and doing multicolor prints of like orange and purple would be really cool. But I don't think I'm going to have it in time for Halloween. I think it's going to be like 3 months. But I would love to do it. I'm super stoked to even potentially get one. So I'm still printing on an Ender 3. I have other printers, but none of them work. The Ender 3 is the only one that currently prints correctly. Okay. Now I've gone and bridged some pads, but there we go. See, those are nice solder balls. They're a little uneven. Sometimes your balls are uneven. It just happens. It just happens. Oh, Glorious Quads, the AMS doesn't do TPU? How does AMS not do TPU? I guess because it's too squishy, it won't push it. That sucks. Well, never mind. I don't want the stinking AMS then. Because I wanted it for TPU. All right. R2T2. R2T2? I'm such a nerd. All right. Which one goes to the back? Because I'm going to do the back first. So R1, R, and T. Let me make sure I'm correct before I put these on. R and T. And I need to resize my joints. Resize my joints. These are too big. So I got to cut them off more. Glorious Quads. Yep, my dreams were crushed as well. I can't believe it doesn't do TPU. I mean, I guess it makes sense. TPU is squishy, and it's hard to push through Bowden tube, and the AMS is definitely pushing it. So I guess it can't push it all the way over there and make it effective. So I am very sad though by that. Broke my heart, Glorious Quads. Apache's using an Ender 5S1. Yeah, my Ender 3 is like 6 years old now, though. And it is bad. It is real bad, but it's what I have. So it's what I keep using. All right. Got to get my cord wrapped around my arm. There we go. And that was TX to RX. And this will be RX to TX. And then voltage and voltage in the rear. But I'm going to do ground first. And again, I could be using tweezers, but I'm not. Oh, see you later, Rick. Rick James. Yeah, get off there. Because I'm not using tweezers. It's literally just because exactly what I said I should be doing, but I'm not. That I am having to push solder. I put too big a ball on this other one, and then it bridged. So I'm going to fix the solder bridge with a little bit of flux. Moist is going to go fly it a bit. I'm not, because it's clouding up outside terribly, and it's supposed to rain all next week. That's why I flew the B35 this weekend, or I flew it on Friday, actually, because I knew that there's no way I'd be able to fly next week, and I really need to like talk about it because I've had it for a little while. Okay. We are going to re-tin this pad where I can see it, because it looks like it's bridged, but I don't think it's actually bridged. There we go. I fixed the bridge. Now let's get it on there. And then we'll get this power on there. On the D5V pad, whatever that is. I'm guessing direct 5 volt. Usually they're not labeled D5V. All right, now we have ELRS. So there's the receiver. It is soldered on. I'm gonna make sure these other pads aren't bridged in any way. Try to clean the solder off of them. There we go. And before I fly this, I will go with a multimeter and check bridging on all the pads because these are so small. So always a good idea. I don't have my multimeter over here with me, but always a good idea to go back over it with a multimeter and make sure you haven't accidentally bridged anything. I'm going to move that drink out of the way. Don't move my iron into the spot so I don't burn myself with it. There we go. And then I should be able to just like Hook these around. Yeah. Nice. And then bring my receiver over here. So that'll be where it lives. I'll put it down here on the bottom plate. But yeah, nice and clean right there. And then we'll put the HD0 system. I'm going to run the MIPI under the flight controller, but yeah, there we go. That's basically what it's going to be. That's going to go under the FC. And then I'm going to design some TPU for the rear end. Because you got to have a nice rear end in FPV. You got to make sure your rear end can handle all the things a rear end needs to handle. And usually what I like to do is box in the rear end so I have room to tuck the cables and things. And there isn't one like that, so I'm going to design it. But all right, well, we've got all the soldering done now. So I guess next week I'll finish building it, and maybe next weekend I'll fly it. And then I'll have to let you all know how it worked. I'm pretty excited to fly this one. I have been wanting to fly one of Bot's frames for a while. But Off for Quad's sake hasn't lost a quad thanks to the iFlight V2. I never put beepers on any of my quads. But I'm just lucky, I guess, and have never lost one in a place where I couldn't find it. But I have watched other people do it, and it does happen. It just doesn't happen to me yet. It will someday. I guarantee it. Saggy Balls, you designed a boxed rear for the Grinderino. Send it to me in Discord, buddy. Show it to me in Discord, and I'll see if it's going to work out the way. Because I have a kind of an idea of what I want it to do, but yours might be perfectly fine. So if it is, I'll use it and say I used it. Because that'll save me some time. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, send it to me in Discord. I'll take a look at it. King Keck. Yeah, those things are loud, ain't they? Yeah, the iFlight V2 buzzers are super loud. Like you can hear it for sure. The problem is when you eject your pack. But is the iFlight V2, does it have the self-contained battery? So does it still say powered? Is that one of them? I think I have one quad on the wall that actually does have a self-contained battery buzzer. Hey, Half Baked 210 made my first remixed GoPro mount thanks to Bacon. Yeah. I did that video a long time ago, but I'm glad it worked for you, man. It's really not that bad. Once you learn how to do it once, it's pretty easy to do your own. You just find somebody who has mostly what you want, and you kind of put your own flavor on it and get it to do what you want it to do. Off for Quad's sake does say it has its own battery on the V2. I couldn't remember if the iFlight V2 did, but yeah, I guess most of the ones that are going to be effective do, because you'll eject the pack and then you won't find it. But if you're going to have a beeper, you should have a powered beeper. It's worth the extra place and wait to do it, because when you eject your pack, that beeper without a battery is worthless. But I can almost smell the chili from here. It's almost dinner time. We're going to have about 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to go find that chili, and I'm going to eat it. Saggy Balls is going to use an EP2 receiver, and there's no antenna mount thing. Oh, yeah. No problem, Saggy Balls. I will remix an antenna mount onto it. Not a problem. But if you can give me 3/4 of the way there, I'd appreciate it, because if not, I'm going to have to draw it off from scratch, which is fine. But if you already have a good one, I'll definitely start there. But it will be simpler if I don't have to draw it from scratch. Moist, how's the piggies doing? The piggies were taken away. The city said we couldn't have them. Even though in their code of ordinances, it says you have to go get a permit for pigs as a livestock animal, labeled under livestock, it says pigs, you need a permit to have them. We went to go get the permit, and they said no swine in town. So animal control was going to come put them down, and we had to have somebody come get them. Luckily, I know someone with a farm, and they took them with them, and they already had pigs. So now they're enjoying being pigs with other pigs. But my wife was pretty disappointed. She was already super attached to them. But they were great little pets for the week we had them. Off for Quad's sake, except when it goes into a cesspit, no beeper, only bubbles. Yeah, I wouldn't chase a quad into a sewer or, like a cistern, I guess they're called, the open top sewers where it's just like turd goo in there. I definitely wouldn't chase a quad into that. I have shoveled one out before, though. I don't recommend it. Tantric FPV, what CAD do you like to use, Big Ninja? So it depends on what I'm doing. A lot of times I use Tinkercad. I know it's simple, But if you learn the tips and tricks of Tinkercad, you can do a lot of things in it without having to have expensive or complicated CAD software. If you learn how to use the cut hole to make different shapes and then make a shape to make a hole in a certain shape, there's a lot of tips and tricks you can learn, and a ton of them are on YouTube. So go search for tips and tricks on Tinkercad. But you can get a lot done on it. If I'm not using Tinkercad, I do have Fusion, and I know how to use Fusion. I also have FreeCAD, and I've used FreeCAD quite a bit. If you can deal with FreeCAD's intricacies and weird menus, it's worth it for free. I know a lot of people that use FreeCAD. Fusion is just more industry standard, and I happen to have access to it. So, but Tinkercad is my go-to for 95% of things. Yeah. Little one-on-one loves Tinkercad and is learning FreeCAD now. I was doing a thing, so NASA had a contest for, it wasn't a Mars rover, it was a Venus rover. Was it Venus rover? It was either Venus or Mercury, one of the two. Super hot, right? And so you couldn't have any electronics operating the feet. So it's a multi-wheeled vehicle, and rather than have any electronics at all, they were making it 100% mechanical rover. So things that would normally be controlled with switches, relays, and solenoids were having to be controlled mechanically. And there was this whole thing where you submit a project. If you can find a way that the rover can tell if there are obstacles in front of it mechanically and avoid them mechanically, you could get your idea used on that rover. And anyway, I did a whole thing in FreeCAD on it. I had a really cool design, and it worked really well and met all the specifics. I never submitted it though. I wound up like not having it 100% finished by submission day, and I just didn't. And the people who won had a design nearly exactly like mine. So I could have been someone. I could have done something, but I did all that with FreeCAD. It was a big learning curve. I had never used FreeCAD before at the time, but I thought, screw it. I'll learn a new CAD software and do this thing for NASA. And so I did, and it was fun. It was worth the time and effort, but yeah, I just never turned it in. I built a I built a full-size wooden model of the thing, and it worked and functioned, and actually threw that away not that long ago. But yeah. Moist lasers, maybe a sonic sensor suite for obstacle detection. They had to minimize all electronics on that thing. So they did not have anything electronic that they didn't absolutely have. They had an electronics portion of it that was like drive stuff, but it was literally just a small, super enclosed box where the elements couldn't get to it. Everything outside of that was mechanical. So I had to have arms on the front. I designed a system of arms and levers that were able to detect dips over a certain amount, or increases over a certain amount, or elevation change between them over a certain amount. And when it detected those things, what it had to do was manipulate a set of pins on the rear of the device that would be pressing on pins on the inside of the rover. So this thing would hang on the front, and based on the terrain in front of it, would either activate or deactivate different pins, so it could mechanically make transmission changes, basically. Yeah. Snowplow. I agree, Mercury Moy. Just throw a freaking snowplow on the front. If you can't move it out of the way with a snowplow, then what are you even doing? I mean, just throw a snowplow on. It also had to weigh under a certain amount, so it was a lot of welded titanium. I did the whole thing in material, like I made it all out of titanium. I spec'd all the bearings. I did all the clearancing. Just never turned it in. It was a fun idea. I could do a lot of things. I just I like to do them when I want to do them, and that was one of those things. I didn't want to do it the day it was able to be turned in. Little one-on-one. Everyone can apply it at NASA if you have the imagination and sci-fi to make it come to reality. Yeah, they're funding though. I don't know that I'd work for NASA, just because you never know when the funding's going to go, and they like to use contractors. And they do that for a reason, because they can cut off contractors a lot easier than employees. But I do know a lot of people that have worked for NASA. It's pretty cool. I've always wanted to. Obviously, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut so I could fly, but now I just fly drones. Maybe someday I'll go to space as like a diamond or something after my ashes are pressed together. Yeah, moist. That makes sense for those prereqs. I'm guessing because Venus has hellish heat and pressure. Yeah, that was the problem. You couldn't really have electronics in that kind of heat and pressure. So they were doing it all mechanically. And it was super interesting. It's a lot of fun. But I don't do so much in FreeCAD anymore. It's mostly Tinkercad. And I mostly just print random little things in TPU now with my really terrible printer. If y'all are in the Discord, you probably know Chow, and he got a nice printer. You know, he got one of the Bamboo Labs, and then he was telling me about how quickly it prints and how accurately it prints and how he can start it from his phone and load it over Wi-Fi, and it made me cry a whole lot inside. But then I got an email from Bamboo that says I might be able to get one. So I'm really hoping, but it might not be till January. So I'll have to print on a piece of junk till January, and then we'll see just how good the Bamboo ones are. It might be good. Offer quad sake. Be an astronaut and then find out we live under a dome. That would be a rough one. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that we live in someone's snow globe. It could happen, you know. Could happen. Nothing's impossible when it comes to the universe. All right, about 2 more minutes, and then it's chili time for me, because you can't let chili cool down. You've got to mix in the cheese and the Fritos when it's hot. If you let it get cold, it just doesn't soak in the same. So I can't miss the chili when it's warm. What's up, CPTGG? You're catching the very end of it. The very end of it. Moist, but you don't find out until you're heading toward it with on a rocket that's going at the speed of sound. Yes, schmack. Just like a fly hitting a window kind of thing. That's what would happen. But no, if I could pick anything in the world to be, I'd probably be an astrophysicist. That's what I'd love to do. If I could just have any career and money didn't matter and could do anything, I would be an astrophysicist. That's where I'd live. Oh, was CPTGG just got off work? Nice. Working on Saturday, man. Working on a Saturday. Gregory Hurst, what's up? Bacon Fist. Gregory Hurst is a channel member on YouTube. There's a couple now. There's a couple channel members. He's not alone. It's a small group. Well, see you later, Tantric. Tantric is out. He just got the O3 and Goggles V2 last night, and my video was a lifesaver. You're very welcome. I'm glad it worked. I highly recommend the V2 goggles still. Some point they're going to depreciate them on us, but till then, they're my pick for anything DJI. Even though I have goggles too, I just always use the V2s. I love the V2s. Oh, it's Sunday, Orlock said. It is Sunday. It's not Saturday. I got to go to work tomorrow. That's the first day I'll be going back to work with my busted knee. I got to get in the car somehow and then drive 20 minutes to work and then somehow get in the building. But yeah, I got to go back to work with a cane. It's going to be great. At least it's not a walker. It was going to be a full walker, but it is Sunday. And it's also chili time. It's 4 o'clock. I'm going to wrap the stream up. My wife has chili a-brewing. It's time for me to go eat the chili. It's, you know, got to catch it while it's warm so the cheese melts properly. But, Moist, I'll answer Moist's question first, though. How did I bust my knee? Being stupid. I slipped in my garage. I was moving. I still am moving. We're still in the process, so I was cleaning out the old garage. I walked in. There's dirt and leaves. I slipped. My foot turned. I fell over it, so my foot was facing backwards at one point. Loud pop. I passed out, woke up, wiggled around on the floor a little bit, and then crawled to a chair where I tried not to pass out again. And that's the state I've been in since then. So my cane needs diamonds, bedazzle it. I'll send it to you, Orlock, and you can bedazzle it for me. But anyway, thank you all so much for being here. I hope to continue to do these. I know I did one last week. I did one this week. I'm going to try to do it as much as I can. You guys have been great, and it's a whole lot of fun building this thing with you. As soon as I get the Grinderino totally done, you guys are going to see it on a video. So you get to see how this flies and feel like you were part of it because you were here while it was getting built. But yeah, until next time, stay greasy, and I'll catch all y'all later.